Hi, and welcome to the Thick Fit Chick channel. I am your host, Dionne Jones, also known as the Thick Fit Chick. And on today's journey, we will explore your spiritual, nutritional, physical, or mental health. So stay tuned to see what you're going to learn today. Hi, everybody out there in Thick Fit Chick land. This is Dionne Jones, also known as DJ, coming to you with this week's episode. Thank you for being patient with me, but as they say, life comes at you fast. So, life coming at you fast created today's topic, which is about the sandwich generation, baby boomers, and self-care for the caregivers. And also throwing in a little bit of empty nest syndrome. So I had a whole lot going on this month. My youngest son graduated from high school and is headed to college. So that's 2 sons in college. And you kind of have a lot of emotions running through your mind. And it's not an official diagnosis or title, but some call it the empty nest syndrome. And some parents can suffer from depression, loneliness, isolation, because you've been in parent mode, mommy mode, taking care of someone for basically 18 years. And of course, it doesn't stop once they go to college, but the bulk of the running around and the meals and everything just comes to a halt, and you have a different definition of parenthood. And if you're married, what does that look like? So for me, it made me excited because I'm so proud of what my husband Sean and I and our village has done with our sons and the great men they are growing into. So for me, it's a time of reflection and a time of new adventures for me and Mr. Jones. So we are looking forward to traveling, reconnecting with each other. So if you have kids and you're in the empty nest syndrome phase of life, look at the positives of rediscovering yourself, rediscovering the partnership and the love that you have with your spouse, or like I said, just getting to know you. So our plans right now are, of course, celebrating our anniversary in August. So excited about that trip, excited about more income because we don't have tuition, so that's a big plus. So take time, don't go into a negative about empty nest. Sit back and reflect and find out what it means to you and find the adventure in your new life and the definition of the newness of reconnecting to yourself and your spouse and friends and loved ones. So don't despair because the nest is empty. Cheer because that means you have time to get back to you. So, reflecting back on when I went to college for a degree in gerontology, and I heard all these terms, and I was like, okay, yeah, yada, 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 sandwich generation, baby boomers, and I absorbed the information, but it didn't really hit home until I became that sandwich generation. So the sandwich generation are those that are taking care of their children and also responsible for taking care of their parents as far as medical appointments. Some may have more intense issues as far as dementia or medical illness that they are dealing with. So as I look back and went from textbook to reality, I had to really step back and reevaluate what that meant for me. So most of us have parents who are baby boomers, and it's the age of parents or the population who was born right after World War II. So between the 40s and the 60s, like mid 60s. So the amazing thing about it in school, I always learned that people are living longer. And what does that mean? And like I said, textbook, what does that mean? But what does it look like for me? So for me, it's looking like, okay, yes, I just spoke about the empty nest. And yes, it's not the intense taking care of your children, but you're still taking care of them or helping them while they're away at school. But now my parents are having medical issues. My mom was in the hospital overnight during the week. And I kind of thought like, okay, it's my mom. My mom took care of me. And you don't really think about the fact that, okay, yes, your parents are aging and wow, I have to maybe start taking care of my parents or setting up programs that can assist them as they age and hopefully age in the home. So I started looking further into the baby boomers and the impact it's going to have on not just me personally, them as well, but the healthcare. So by the age or by the year 2030, 1 in 5 individuals will be 65 years old. So that is a taxing statistic to think about. What does it do to Medicare? The people who are paying into that, 4 people are paying into that to take care of one person, and you're hoping that you are working so it will help take care of you when you get older. But as we know right now, that's not guaranteed for those that are not in the baby boomer generation. So that's one thing to think about. Your savings, your planning to take care of your retirement, and especially people like my sons, my advice for those that are younger is to consider getting long-term care insurance. Start getting that now because like we don't know if Medicare, Social Security, any of that will be around. But things to start thinking about, getting that long-term care insurance. And once again, reflecting on the fact that my mother has been in the hospital and is having a few medical issues, it also made me look at my aging because, yes, I'm aging and so are my parents. So being in that sandwich generation also makes you stop and think about yourself. And for me, I got caught up in running around. You're taking care of everyone and you have to stop and take care of you. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how to take care of you as you are in that sandwich generation, getting squeezed from caring for your children and caring for your parents. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is self-compassion. Write that down, self-compassion. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're human, and yes, sometimes you may want to please on both ends, but don't get in that trap. Self-compassion is going to be key. So remember that. Don't be so hard on yourself. Care for you as well. And definitely self-care. Now, what does that mean? Self-care, for some people, it's just as simple as retreating to a calm place. And for some people, it's just as simple as stopping 10 minutes a day and practicing a meditation or practicing breathing. And for me, I practice the breathing. And it's very simple. You just inhale, filling those lungs all the way up. So it's a deep inhale. And exhale for a count of 8. So counting backwards from 8 to 1. And do that for a good 2 or 3 minutes. And just sit still. And that, for a lot of people, is the simple thing of self-care. Self-care can be as extravagant as taking a trip. It can also mean just sitting there reading a book. So you find out what self-care means to you and devote at least 10 minutes a day to self-care. And along the lines of taking care of yourself, find something beyond meditation or close to it, Tai Chi, yoga, or even setting up a meditation space in your home just for you. For me, it's my shower. So I do spend a lot of time in the shower, but it gives me time to reflect. The warm water washes over you. It just feels wonderful. You get to clear your mind. I incorporate eucalyptus oil, sometimes peppermint oil, and just inhale the essential oils. So like I said, find out what works for you and connect to that self-care. And connecting to people, support groups, close friends. For some, it's a higher being. For some, it's church. For some, it's belonging to community organizations that align with your personal mission. So connect with people. When you get caught up and busy in the sandwich generation, taking care of yourself, your children, and your parents, step back and connect with those that aren't associated with the issues that you're dealing with at home or with your parents. Kind of reset the mind, reset the heart, and connect. Definitely connect. So those are some tips that I have: self-compassion, self-care, and connecting with other individuals. So as you go through your life and you find yourself maybe ending up in the sandwich generation or finding yourself in the empty nest syndrome, remember, don't panic, step back, reevaluate, and find out what the adventure holds for you. So thank you so much for tuning in this week. I look forward to seeing you next week. If you have any comments or questions, you can reach me on my Instagram page at the Thick Fit Chick 1908, and you can leave comments in the bottom there. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful week, and see you soon. Take care.